Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
All right, we'll get better at that. It's a good intro.
Yeah, here we are. We are on. I can't tell if like anybody's listening. The interface is like so different compared to hosting a Twitter space. But welcome everybody to our first video version of Good for Bitcoin. This is awesome. This is so exciting.
The beginning of a new era. Yeah.
Tuned in right now, so that's pretty cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll have to see where in the interface I can see that.
We've got a chat feature here.
Yeah. There is a chat feature. I think I posted a little GM. If you are listening right now, go ahead and post something in the chat. Let us know that you're here, and we will see it, and we'll maybe give you a little shout out. Yeah, let's get into it. Like the recording of my voice said, we are a weekly show recorded live every Friday here, and this is good for Bitcoin. So, oh my gosh, we have so much to get into this week. We joked last week, or I think it was Sean that said last week that we're going to have to rename the show to Great for Bitcoin. And I think Sean is absolutely correct in his prediction that this week was great for Bitcoin in many ways. So we're going to get into that. But yeah, before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about just some product news, some things going on with leather this week. First, we gave a shout out to Ordinals. It was kind of the second birthday of Ordinals, which is very exciting. The first ordinal inscription, I think, was made very late December by Casey. But technically the 20th was the date that I think it was 0.4.0 was released. That was the first kind of mainnet version of Ordinals when it actually went live to the public. So that's kind of the date that I guess we celebrate for Ordinals. So happy birthday, Ordinals.
Yeah, I mean, very coincidentally also, that was inauguration date too.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just a coincidence.
Yes, I think it was in the stars.
Yeah.
Brandon, since we're talking about Ordinals, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind talking again about the website that you published and some of your activity using inscriptions.
I was actually just thinking about that the other day. I need to update it. We're going to be doing some traveling, and I'm going to have some opportunities to write something while I'm in the air. So I think I need to do an update. But basically, right now on Stacks, there's a lot of talk about. There's a lot of really fun campaigns that are going on Stacks right now. Return to Ape, and then return to .btc is kind of something that's trending. But one thing that I created on Ordinals was I actually inscribed a personal website, and it's sort of like a blog. And I inscribed it in a way that allows it to be updated with new content. So I can inscribe new blog posts, and you can see those new blog posts. If you go to like brandonmarshall.net, it redirects to the ordinal inscription on ordinals.org, and it's just all on Bitcoin, which is really cool. So maybe I'll have to talk a little bit more about it once I have updated it, and I can talk through like what the process is for how to actually update it, and kind of more back-end stuff on like how it actually works behind the scenes. But yeah, it's really cool that, obviously there's so much art, that's been created on Ordinals, but there's a lot of other, potential use cases for it as well. So, yeah.
Nice. Speaking of art, what's happening with on the leather side with SRC 20s?
Yeah, Kate, let me throw it over to you because you made a really fun video on it the other day. But maybe you can talk a little bit about the SRC 20 art in leather.
Yeah, absolutely. So Yeah, this one thing that's really cool about the stamps community is they have like such an open source nature, and there's a lot of contributors there. And so, with some help from them, we were able to change. If you're familiar with Leather's wallet, there's like this purpley blue SRC20 token that usually displays, and it can be kind of confusing to see which token corresponds to which piece of art. So, yeah, we were able to make some changes, and now you can see the art that's associated with that token in your wallet. It's just like a nice little user experience that really enhances using Leather. So, yeah, we were pretty excited about that, and I think Stamps was very excited about that as well.
Yeah, they were definitely very excited. Yeah, the SRC20, like the fact that there's like a corresponding art associated with each token is, I think, something that's pretty unique to SRC20. I don't like BRC20 definitely doesn't have it, and I'm not sure if any other token standards like on Ordinals have it. So just a very unique feature and really cool. And one thing that was also really nice is this was a contribution to Leather from the Stamps community, because Leather is open source. Like people can make pull requests and they can write code for it and introduce new code for Leather. So a really great example of that. And I think more to come as well on the Stamps side. We're talking with them on potentially some more Stamps features in the future. So pretty cool stuff. Sean, let me throw it back to you to talk about the Leather Lounge that happened this week with Xenatron, and that whole project is just so exciting. So I know you were really fired up on it too. So would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, for sure. So Xenatron has been building a lot in the Stacks ecosystem for several years, and I didn't really know how far he went back, but he's like OG since day one, since the Blockstack days before it was renamed to Stacks. So he's been coding and building a lot, and he is really getting into gamification, and he has created a game called Skullcoin, and we demonstrated it like earlier in the show on Tuesday. And it involves like puzzles where you'll see what looks like a map, and it is actually like a place that you can find on Google Maps. So part of the challenge is to find the location on Google Maps, put in the coordinates, and that's how you solve one of the puzzles. So there's storylines with it. There's great art. There's a little bit of like an educational element, but the gamification of it is really fun. So it's a pretty slick game, and you can start to imagine how scalable it is and how it can really be adapted. I mean, I can see it being used in schools, and I don't know about you, but especially when it was early days of Google Maps, I would just lose hours like exploring different parts of the world, cruising around in street mode. So it's very, the community is super fired up about it too. And there's a dedicated group of users. So that was a great episode, and I highly recommend giving it a listen and trying out the game as well.
Yeah, I definitely makes me like inspired for like more games on Stacks specifically. I'm still participating in the Pizza Pets game, on Ordinals. Yeah. And every time that I have to feed my pizza pet, it's so dang expensive, which I guess is like kind of part of the game, right? Like you have a vested interest in your pizza pets and you want to keep them alive. But, and then also the block, speed, right? Like sometimes I'll do an action, like I'll try to feed my pet and it'll take 20 minutes or 40 minutes if there's a really long Bitcoin block. Right, where like you're making these actions on Stacks, and the actions are like almost instant, right? Because of the fast blocks that Stacks has. So yeah, definitely makes me excited for more applications on Stacks to be built. There's another one too that is like a chess on chain.
Right.
We've done some shout outs with them, I think, in the past for Leather, where you can like play like a game of chess by like, not inscribing because that's not the right word on Stacks, but like you're making your moves and you're interacting with smart contracts in order to do that. So that's just another cool example. So yeah, excited to see kind of more where that how that evolves.
How many pets do you have left now?
So I have all except for one, or no. I have all except for one. The first one, the one that died, I made a dumb mistake. When the pineapple bomb things were happening, I missed one and I didn't apply lotion. to the right bet. So yeah, but I have they're all kicking. I think I have like 12, maybe.
Wow,
That's good.
huge.
Yeah,
Did you buy some, or was that all dropped?
I did buy a couple so that I could have a full set of like all the different types, because that will come into play in the future once they evolve into their final stage. But I'm definitely looking forward to not having to pay every day to keep these things alive and for them to become immortal, which I think is going to happen in about a week. So the whole system is going to change, like how people are treating them in like a week or two once everyone starts evolving.
Do you have any floor price predictions?
I don't know. I think it's good. It's going to completely change the meta. Like certainly the immortal pizza pets will be much more valuable because you won't have to like tend to them every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of a floor price though, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to sell them, or we'll see what kind of the new meta is. If there are opportunities for them to become more valuable. If you have a full set, you can like create more of them. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next.
We'll have to get the Pizza Pets team back on maybe a Leather Lounge soon so we can talk to them about it once maybe some of these changes happen.
It'll be good to get an update.
Yeah.
Nice.
Should we get into it then? We have got...
Let's get into it. There's so much.
Have you guys heard of MicroStrategy?
I have. Yeah, there's this like sailor, I think.
Yeah.
Are they like in the like maritime?
Sailor to the moon.
Anyway, public company roundup this week. These numbers might also be outdated at this point because like so many things have been happening this week. But just to round up, a few public companies that have added Bitcoin or more Bitcoin to their balance sheets. So MicroStrategy purchased another 11,000 Bitcoin. Their total holdings are now 461,000. Genius Group purchased 48 Bitcoin. Total holdings are 420. Nice. KULR, which is an energy management like company, they purchased 79.39 BTC. Total holdings are 510. I don't think we've ever talked about them before, but apparently they were already holding Bitcoin. So shout out to them. And then another one, which is LQWD, which I think is liquid, is pronounced liquid. They are a Lightning infrastructure company, also a public company. They purchased 4 Bitcoin, and they have now a total holdings of 157 BTC. And not to be outdone with the public companies, one of the this is a private company, I guess technically, but World Liberty Financial purchased at the beginning of this week $47 million worth of WBTC. And over $70 million in other tokens like Ethereum and Steth and Tron, Link, Aave, and all these other ones. I think there's that number has gone up since then. I need to figure out how to share my screen here. We have a link from Arkham Intelligence that has like the breakdown of how much tokens they have. It's like $386,000 worth of, or $1 million worth of various kind of crypto coins. But World Liberty Financial is it like Trump's company, or is it just like affiliated with Trump?
Yeah, I think the Trump family.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's like in the family. So the family's doubling down for sure. And I think that with this news, like there was a lot of controversy over like it's WBTC and not like pure BTC. But like they're trying to like build like a DeFi platform on Ethereum, so it would make sense that it's WBTC. Maybe in the future, they'll choose something that is a less centralized version of Bitcoin, because WBTC has a lot of centralization associated with it. But
they'll just go to CBBTC and they'll think it's decentralized.
Yeah, it's still kind of Bitcoin.
Yeah. I was looking at MicroStrategy. If you go to treasuries.bitbo.io, MicroStrategy, I wanted to look at a chart because they keep buying more Bitcoin and it's just skyrocketed over the past 3 or 4 months. So right now they're holding 461,000, and that is 2.195% of the 21 million Bitcoin cap. So 2% is a lot, but like, when does it stop? When is it uncomfortably too much? Is that 4%? Is that 5%? Will they get there? Is it inevitable? When will they get there? When is it problematic that they're holding so much Bitcoin? Or does it not matter? Like, as long as it's like 49%, it's a lot.
Technically, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for Bitcoin, the network. It would only matter for Bitcoin, the asset, like the price, right? Mm-hmm. They could do some mass sell-off and just really tank the price. But even if they owned more than 50% of the supply of Bitcoin, it doesn't really matter. Like they wouldn't have any like more effect on the network than anybody else. That's up to like, you know, the nodes and the miners and everything else. So that's at least kind of a good thing there. But certainly a threat for the price if anything were to happen, anything were to change. What if like Saylor died or something, right? Mm-hmm. Like the strategy changed of the company. Like who knows?
Yeah.
You know, what would happen there. So
what if they lose their keys?
In a boating accident while they're sailing. There you go.
There it is. Well, maybe we can move on to the exceptional news that happened. I think it was on technically day 2 of Trump's presidency.
Yeah, you know, everybody was kind of debating, I guess, if it was like day 1 or not. But yes, Donald Trump, you know, kept to his word and granted a full and unconditional pardon to Ross Ulbricht. And I don't know if you guys saw the video that Ross posted yesterday.
Yeah.
So he posted a video. Basically, there was a couple pictures that came out of him kind of, you know, being released, and he was all smiles, of course. And he posted a video basically just thanking everybody and mostly just asking for like privacy almost. Like he wants to just be able to spend time with his family and reconnect, you know, with his family, which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that like every crypto media person that's out there is trying to reach him, and like he's probably just getting inundated with, you know, people trying to talk to him and interview him and do all these things. And he's, I think, just mostly asking for privacy right now, which is very understandable. But yeah, nonetheless, I mean, it's pretty incredible. This is something that the Bitcoin community has been, you know, waiting for, right, and asking for over a decade. That he's been imprisoned. I think 12 years, right, is how long he's been in prison for. So yeah, just really incredible stuff that he is now out and is a free man and has a future ahead of him. And yeah, just really great news.
It's also kind of poetic that it's because of the Silk Road seizure that this strategic reserve of Bitcoin, or crypto more broadly as Trump is referring to it, came from the Silk Road. So yes, we'll talk about this, but Trump is talking about America wanting to be the crypto and AI hub of the world now and building up a strategic reserve. So thank you, Ross. Thank you, Ross, for everything. And from what I've learned about him, he's so like altruistic and in line with the Bitcoin ethos. So it's just kind of heartbreaking that he was dragged around for so long and just put in the worst conditions. So undeservingly so. I mean, no one really deserves to be in the conditions that he was in, but it was really uncalled for.
Yeah, he almost became like a martyr of Bitcoin, right? Yeah. He was like the one person that was just like so attacked and prosecuted for being kind of involved in Bitcoin so early. And Manib actually, he tweeted out with the news that like Ross is kind of one of the original, if not the original Bitcoin builder. You know, he was like one of the first people to like, you know, build something on Bitcoin that was used by many people, right?
Yeah.
Some people used it for bad, some people used it for good, but like it got use.
it was interesting to hear some of the, some of the media that's like come out around him, and even interviews he's done in the past. I think, I don't know if it was Bitcoin Magazine, they might have had to take it down, but yeah, they were interviewing, and he was saying like, I regret it because I rushed it. Like, I found this asset that I was so excited about, like, really found that there was going to be change with this, and he regrets it because he rushed, without really thinking about the implications. And obviously, like, his story is well, like, yeah, for those who don't know, like, it was like very much overreach on government, and mismatch of evidence and everything. But yeah, it's really cool to hear sort of like him speak a little bit more freely now, about his experience. So that'll be a very cool story to come.
And to that point, we have a new a new person to speak eloquently about Bitcoin, and he's going to have the podium now. And what will he be able to do with that status and that reach?
Yeah, I'll be definitely excited to hear more of his story when he's ready to share it. I think is kind of how I think about it. But for now, he can have his privacy and just try to live a normal life for a little while before he gets kind of thrust back into the limelight again.
Yeah, I'm excited for the podcast circuit when he starts making the rounds.
Yeah, that's what everyone was tweeting about. They're like, I can't wait for Rogan, his appearance on Rogan.
For sure, yeah.
Like a 3-hour Ross interview would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's get into some more news. So this is happening so frequently now that it's being shortened to just being called an SBR instead of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So if you hear SBR, if you see SBR around, strategic Bitcoin reserve is what it means. But right after we ended the show last week, on Friday, Massachusetts Senator Peter Durant introduced the Commonwealth Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill. In the bill, basically said that the Treasurer of Massachusetts may invest up to 10% of the Commonwealth Stabilization Fund's yearly allocation in Bitcoin or digital assets, with money that is unexpected, unencumbered, or uncommitted. And it may also include seized digital assets as well. And then this one bit was really interesting. It said, if the treasurer can loan Bitcoin or other digital assets without increasing the financial risk to the Commonwealth, that they may, to generate additional returns for the Commonwealth. So that was a pretty interesting bullet point from Massachusetts. And then this week, Utah State Representative Jordan Tusher introduced their SBR bill in Utah, very similar to the Massachusetts bill with the kind of 10% clause there. But again, just more states are getting on board with introducing their own SBR bills and trying to front run the government, I guess, federal government.
They should be able to run faster and be more nimble, but I wonder who's going to get there first. The game theory is on.
Yeah, to me, Texas always seemed like it would be like the first one to do it, just because they have so much Bitcoin mining and so much going on in that state. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
What's great about the variety of SBRs out there is that they all have slightly different mechanisms of how they acquire the Bitcoin, where the funds are coming from. So I think there's going to be a lot of lessons learned, and we'll be able to see what the most popular, like what makes the most sense, because every state is different. Every constituency is different. And I think a lot of states will have to be very mindful of taxpayers who might not want their tax dollars to be used buying Bitcoin. But, maybe Texans are all for it, totally depends. So it makes sense that we see these subtle differences in all the different SBRs. It's good to have that diversity.
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, I mean, it's not, the funds that the states have are not just all bundled up into like one basket, right? There's all these different baskets. Like in this case, it was like the Commonwealth, what was it? The Commonwealth Stabilization Fund, and like, all these states have all these kind of different smaller kind of baskets that they put these different funds in. So that doesn't mean that 10% of all of Massachusetts's money is going to go into Bitcoin. It's 10% of this one specific fund that's going to go into Bitcoin. So yeah, like they're being conservative, I think, with kind of their I don't know, whatever their allocations or their
Yeah.
proposed allocations, because all of these are proposals. They're not signed yet, but yeah.
So behind us, Gary Gensler, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Come on.
Yeah, I hope that Shaylee enjoyed her Goodbye Gary Gensler event over the weekend. Yeah, Gensler's officially out. I think on the 20th he resigned, and Mark Ueda has been now appointed as the acting chair. And as a reminder, Trump already announced who the replacement's going to be. He nominated Paul Atkins as the permanent chair. So for now, it's going to be Mark Ueda, but eventually it'll be Paul Atkins once he's confirmed. But Ueda kind of wasted no time. I think it was like on day one of him coming in, he launched a crypto task force, which is being led by Commissioner Hester Pierce. And then she will help the commission. They had a really good press release. It says that she will help the commission draw clear regulatory guidelines, realistic paths to register, craft sensible disclosure frameworks, and deploy enforcement judiciously instead of, to everybody, right? And they will also coordinate with the CFTC on these things as well. And again, wasting no time. As part of this crypto task force, Hester Pierce unveiled SAB 122, which basically reverses all the things that happened in SAB 121. Basically allows or makes sure that banks can custody crypto. And, we'll see more banks now entering the fold with crypto and being able to custody crypto on behalf of their clients and just offering crypto services. You can, sign into your Bank of America account and buy Bitcoin potentially one day in the future. So that's definitely good for Bitcoin.
One thing I liked about Hester Pierce, I think she's called Crypto Mom, maybe. But she wants to get us to the point where people are not talking about the SEC and it's not like a main point of focus for companies as they're building. It's sort of, talking about like the potential of what we can do instead of all of the limitations that have been in place. So that was like a very promising thing coming from her.
Yeah, even though she really doesn't like the term crypto mom, she won't escape it. I think it's too sticky.
Yeah, she has I think out of everybody else, out of all the other commissioners in the SEC, I think dissented the most when it came to certain actions taken against crypto companies, and she's always kind of been on crypto's side. So really great to see her leading this crypto task force. And then this one, I thought of you, Sean, because you're always talking about Senator Lummis. Senator Cynthia Lummis is now the first ever chair of the new Senate panel on digital assets. So this will be starting kind of in the 119th Congress, and basically it'll have two focus areas. So first area is passing bipartisan digital asset legislation that promotes responsible innovation and protects consumers, including market structure, stablecoins, and a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which does not mean that we're getting a strategic Bitcoin reserve yet. It just means they're looking into it. And then conducting robust oversight over federal financial regulations to ensure that those agencies are following the law, including by ensuring that Operation Choke Point 2.0 never happens again. And that's certainly good news. I think that ensuring Operation Choke Point 2.0 never happens again basically means that they'll be looking into creating actual laws that protect that protect crypto companies from being sort of discriminated against by banks versus, just this 4-year period of Trump being in office, it not being a problem, right? What if the next president hates crypto and wants to crack down again, right? If there's an actual law in place that protects these types of things, then that won't happen in the future. So that's also potentially exciting.
Yeah, and that really speaks to the importance of as many laws being passed the traditional way, not just through executive orders, because they can just be overturned by the next president. And just to see not only do we have a president who is saying we want to make America the crypto and AI capital of the world, with that signal that is so strong, we have the leadership from so many different states, from Senator Lemus. And I think it's just a matter of time for it to all be done right.
Certainly. So much progress has been made this week, but it's going to take a long time, right? These laws and all this stuff takes a long time to happen. Hopefully it happens in, this 4-year period where everybody's a little bit more crypto friendly, but yeah, we'll see. But speaking of executive orders, this is kind of one of the bigger stories of the week, was this specific executive order from Trump, which was titled Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology. And I was trying to condense this as much as I could, but honestly, it's so every bullet point is so important to our industry that I feel like maybe we could just rapid fire through this.
Yeah.
Just because it's, everything is so good. So I can maybe start. So it starts with section 1, which is purpose and policies. And it says the digital asset industry plays a crucial role in innovation and economic development in the United States, as well as our nation's international leadership. It is therefore the policy of my administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the economy, including, and then we have several bullet points here that are sort of promises of the order.
Okay, you want to take the next one?
To you.
Take it away, Kate.
Do you have the document open?
I do, yeah.
Check that first.
I'll keep it going. So, including by protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use the lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, and to maintain self-custody of digital assets.
I think that the self-custody part is huge. I think that's also something that people have been asking for, that there wasn't really anything specific about your right to self-custody. So I think that kind of checks that box a little bit, which is pretty interesting. So, next one, promoting and protecting the sovereignty of the United States dollar, including through actions to promote the development and growth of lawful and legitimate dollar-backed stablecoins worldwide. Definitely very cool to see that in there, to help stablecoins grow and to have a little bit more clarity there for stablecoins specifically.
Then we have protecting and promoting fair and open access to banking services for all law-abiding individual citizens and private sector entities alike. So ending Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Big one for sure. You can take the next one, Kate.
Right. And we have providing regulatory clarity and certainty built on technology-neutral regulations, frameworks that account for emerging technologies, transparent decision-making, and well-defined jurisdictional regulatory boundaries, all of which are essential to supporting a vibrant and inclusive digital economy and innovation in digital assets, permissionless blockchains, and distributed ledger technologies.
Very cool. And then last one is taking measures to protect Americans from the risks of CBDCs, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of a CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States. So flat out, no CBDCs. And then skipping ahead a little bit in section 4, some more kind of action items here. First one is, as appropriate and consistent with applicable law, the chair may invite the heads of other... Oh yeah, it's basically just saying more people might get involved. I'll skip that one. Within 30 days of the order, the Department of the Treasury, Department of Justice, and the SEC, and other relevant agencies, and heads of which are included in the working group, should identify any regulations, guidance documents, orders, or other items that may affect the digital asset sector. And then within 60 days, each agency must submit to the chair recommendations with respect to each of those things. So basically, it's kind of taking stock of all of the current laws and regulations and everything that currently exists that might be impacting the crypto industry in some way, so that those can sort of be reassessed. And then within 180 days of that order, that working group will submit a report to the president. And then that'll include kind of some recommended regulatory and legislative proposals to, maybe help resolve some of the issues that might exist out there. So within kind of 180 days is kind of the TLDR that we'll get some proposals to fix some of these existing laws.
Yeah, the big one there is the strong stance against CBDCs. That's a powerful one to come out with. I mean, it's not that surprising given like a lot of the rhetoric that's been around Bitcoin development, but to explicitly say it, I think is like very reassuring for our industry.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important though to have an actual law that bans CBDCs versus the president just saying that we're not going to create one, right? Because again, that could four years from now that could change, right? So to have an actual codified law against them is going to be really important.
Yeah. Also, any executive order can be challenged through judicial review, which has happened. I mean, there's of course precedent for that. So it's great. It's fast moving, but like it's a lot of signaling too. It's not like as permanent. Certainly not as permanent as Bitcoin is. This one stood out to me. This is section 4.2 that the working group shall evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile and propose criteria for establishing such a stockpile potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government and its law enforcement efforts.
Yeah, this is the big one. This is the big one that kind of got everybody a little, I think, too excited. It's kind of similar to the Microsoft proposal that we talked about, right? This is evaluating the potential creation of a national digital asset stockpile. It's not creating a national digital asset stockpile, right? So multiple people were tweeting like, people kind of got over their skis a little bit with this one. So, it's just an evaluation. It's progress, right? But it's not the final thing yet. And also, it doesn't only specifically name Bitcoin in here, right? It's going to include a national digital asset stockpile. So that's going to include not just Bitcoin. It's going to include maybe other currencies, other crypto that are maybe US based. So we'll just have to see kind of what that final basket is going to consist of. But a lot of speculation on that happening this week.
Yeah, that was certainly a source for a lot of people being upset on crypto Twitter, Bitcoin Twitter, because for so many of us who are kind of Bitcoin, like primarily Bitcoin focused, right? Yes, it makes sense for the strategic reserve to be in Bitcoin. And Crucis had a really great post about this, because I don't know about you guys, but I think for most people, when they start learning about Bitcoin and then they learn about crypto more broadly, they buy everything, right? They're like, oh, Bitcoin's too expensive. $60,000 for a Bitcoin. I'm not going to buy Bitcoin at $60,000. I'm going to buy something else. I'm going to buy the next Bitcoin. And then we all go through this journey of like realizing that not all crypto is the same. There's crypto and there's Bitcoin. And I just feel like the government is learning in public in front of everyone right now. Like they're on that step of the Bitcoin adoption road.
Yeah, definitely. I think it feels like, there's certainly a lot of very convicted Bitcoiners in Trump's circle, which is certainly a positive thing. But, it's also just like, it's getting back to like everyone like was so mad about like the fact that like Trump didn't immediately mention Bitcoin in his like inauguration speech, right?
Yeah.
And, like, there's so much going on in the world other than Bitcoin. So it's kind of a good reminder of that as well, right? Like as Bitcoiners, we're all in this kind of echo chamber and this bubble of like wanting this Bitcoin stockpile and all these things, but like there's a lot of US companies that have a lot of interests in a lot of other crypto assets, and yeah, there's so, and even outside of crypto, of course, right? There's so much going on in the world that it's totally fine that we can share a little bit of the stockpile as Bitcoiners, and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I think it is better to be inclusionary. It just it feels like a little red flaggy. But I like how you said that it's good to be inclusionary and invite all the innovation to happen here.
And like you said, you learn pretty quick, as you're actually going through different cryptocurrencies, which ones make sense. And pretty quickly you realize the difference between Bitcoin and crypto.
Yeah. And they have that wording in there, right? They'll evaluate the potential creation and propose criteria for establishing that stockpile. So yeah, that was a standout headline there.
Yeah, but certainly, with Senator Lummis, on this kind of heading this crypto task, or Hester Pierce is doing the crypto task force. We have Lummis on the Senate Banking Subcommittee. All these kind of leaders that are so Bitcoin focused. Maybe not Hester Pierce, but certainly Lummis. That it's I'm hopeful kind of for the future. But in terms of it being 100% Bitcoin, I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's totally fine.
The real test is when government employees will be able to get paid in Bitcoin.
Ooh.
Or Doge.
Yeah, not just like Miami mayors, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there was Eric Adams from New York, right? Was it him? Or was it someone else? For a time, it was
Eric Adams. Yeah,
yeah. It was New York and Miami, and they were kind of just kind of feeding and egging each other on.
Yeah. The whole pay me in Bitcoin kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, Adams certainly took quite a turn there.
Yeah. How so? What do you mean?
He's been under so much controversy lately on all these other things, all these bribery things, and fraud. He's under a lot of investigation, but we won't get into that. I don't. Oops. Allegedly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of a fun or an interesting story to kind of end it on, and then we're gonna play a clip and hopefully it works. But there's this news this week from bitcoinlayers.org, which is a really wonderful resource for learning about Bitcoin layers. They kind of announced a pretty big change to how they assess Bitcoin layers, and they're basically going to be demoting a few projects from their listings because they're not, in their eyes, they're not actually Bitcoin layers. So I have the list here. It's Merlin Chain, it's B Squared Network, Core, BitLayer, Bob, Rolux, BVM, Libra, and Fractal do not meet their standards. So at the end of this month, they're going to be, I don't know if they're going to be completely removed from their website, but they're going to be sort of relegated to a different category that's not an actual Bitcoin layer. So they kind of have two main things when you go on their website right now. They have two main tabs. I think there's one that's actually a true L2, which is mostly just Lightning. And then there's kind of what they're calling side systems. And basically, in order for something to qualify as a side system, projects basically either need to be Bitcoin native, or Bitcoin side systems to be considered Bitcoin layers. And side systems are they're one or more of the following. So they're either BTC denominated, secured by native BTC, native Bitcoin. They either rely on Bitcoin for consensus, rely on Bitcoin for transaction finalization, or they support interactions with L1 scripts or PSBTs. So in order to qualify as a Bitcoin layer, you need to meet one of those things. And there's been kind of a lot of talk. I think before this, there's a lot of talk on what actually is a Bitcoin layer? Just because you have a bridge, a Bitcoin bridge, that doesn't make you a Bitcoin layer, right? Because then you could technically classify something like Ethereum as a Bitcoin layer. So I think it's good to have these conversations on just what is an actual Bitcoin layer. And Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. So kind of some more justification that they gave is if everything is called a side chain, as many people kind of talk about Bitcoin layers, we lack nuance. So breaking up this sole large category into smaller categories enables us to more clearly define what their relationship is with Bitcoin. And they specifically called out stacks later on in their blog. They said systems like stacks are not side chains. This is because they rely on another alternative validator set with an alternative token to function. Stacks is more closely related to an anchor chain, a system that anchors itself to Bitcoin and receives some additional protection against chain reorganizations. And Stacks does this through its hybrid proof of burn / proof of stake mechanism. So after all these changes, when you look at kind of by kind of market cap, it's actually not by market cap. It's based on, I think they sort everything by TVL. So once they make all these changes and delist some of these other layers, I think Stacks will be number 4 on the kind of side system list. But it's only number 4 because of the SBTC peg being like 1,000 Bitcoin, right? As soon as that peg is increased, I think both Liquid and Rootstock are around like 3,000 something Bitcoin TVL. So, like Stacks could pass that pretty handily once, that peg gets lifted.
I think that's going to happen pretty quick. Yeah.
Pretty soon. Do you think this is a shock to a lot of people to see these L2s being removed?
It wasn't necessarily a shock to me. I think I'm not familiar with every single one of the ones that they listed here, but a lot of the ones that they listed, I think, are kind of like EVM based.
Okay.
So it does kind of make sense to me. Like, there certainly is a spectrum of like, how Bitcoin native are you, right? So I think they're trying to kind of define what that rubric is. And to me, like personally, like all these EVM like Bitcoin layers, like they just don't feel like Bitcoin because they're EVM. Like they're, it's cool that they have like a bridge and they're, enabling you to do more things with your Bitcoin still, because you can still bridge your Bitcoin in and out. But again, it's like kind of separating Bitcoin the network from Bitcoin the asset, right? Like these chains are using Bitcoin the asset, but they're not really using Bitcoin the network. So I think it's kind of a step in the right direction to kind of better define what it means to be a Bitcoin layer. And cool, for us, that kind of Stacks continues to make the cut with being a side system, not a side chain anymore. I guess
Stacks meets all the first principles of Bitcoin as well. And I really like how you put that it's separating and stripping away all the Bitcoin network value. And it's just, all you're getting when you wrap it on something else is the hard cap 21 million is the value of the asset.
Yeah.
And then I know something Munib talks a lot about is how do you innovate on Bitcoin? You don't want to go changing core because we've seen like what can happen when you do one little chain. You have pizza pets. And because of one little change, and the innovation needs to happen on layers and side chains. And I think from a first principles perspective, Stacks has everything that you need to do that kind of innovation and making Bitcoin more usable while still adhering to the fundamentals of decentralization.
Yeah, well said. I think that about ends our show. I think we have a fun clip to kind of play. I don't know if we wanted to like talk about the clip afterwards or not, or if we can kind of just end on the clip because it's kind of cool. Kate, maybe I can throw it to you.
Sure. Yeah, so this is a clip of Larry Fink. I think it's just one that it's just a nice to hear. So we'll play it for you guys here.
If you're frightened of your debasement of your currency or you're frightened of your economic or political stability of your country, you could have an internationally based instrument called Bitcoin that will overcome those local fears. And so I'm a big believer in the utilization of that as an instrument. And so if that becomes true and you see that it could be a proper hedge against maybe hope securities or equities, the question is, Could you see a 2 or 5% allocation? I was with a sovereign wealth fund during this week, and that was the conversation. Should we have a 2% allocation? Should we have a 5% allocation? If everybody adopted that conversation, it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 per Bitcoin.
But does it also?
I'm not promoting it, by the way. So that is not my promotion.
That was a solid.
So much protection from like potential like legal issues, but like
Quote him.
I mean the case is clear, right? From
yeah. And just back on like the Bitcoin education route, 2017, he said, Bitcoin just shows you how much demand for money laundering there is in the world. 2018, in a discussion with Bloomberg TV, emphasizing his doubts about the legitimacy and stability of. So he's made this transition, and finally for the CEO of BlackRock to give those quotes, that's a good place to end on.
Yeah, it's just incredible how far Bitcoin has come. Just, this week, right? There's been so much progress just looking at all the news that we just talked about. But then, Ross is free, and we have the CEO of BlackRock saying that Bitcoin is going to hit 700K, and these executive orders coming out protecting the crypto industry, and it's just a really exciting time to be in this industry. So
Feels bullish.
Definitely does.
For sure.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up. I think we'll have to play the outro music, and maybe we'll have to have a outro video or like an intro video or something, so we're not just
we'll be
Brady bunching for 3 minutes.
Nice.
So we'll have to work on that maybe for next week. But yeah, we will see you next week. Live and in person on video. And thank you guys for joining us today.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you for listening. We record Good for Bitcoin live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on X. Please follow us at Trust Machines Co. if you would like to listen and engage with us live. Visit us at trustmachines.co for all the latest Bitcoin news. We'll see you next week.